veterans are huge values in your dynasty leagues. You need to be going and getting these guys everywhere you can. We're going to give you these guys, why they're huge values, what they're going to do this year, and who you should maybe be sending off for them. Maybe we'll give a little bit of that too, because people have been asking for stuff like that. So do us a huge favor. If you want these huge values, do a huge like on this huge video, and make sure you huge subscribe. And that didn't make sense. But if you want a huge amount of content, if you want to win all your dynasty leagues this year, if you want to have access to the best, and when I say the best, I do mean the best resources from creators that you can to win all your dynasty leagues, head over to flockfantasy.com/domain. It's where our content is. It's where all of your other favorite creators' content is. And when you use code domain, you get 30% off everything. You get access to our rankings, other people's rankings. You get access to our articles, videos, other people's articles, databases, other people's databases. You get access to our Discord, only our Discord. Well, kind of. You're going to want to do it, and we're going to review one of your dynasty teams live on our channel. So you're going to want to do that. Make sure you head over to blockfantasy.com/domain. You've got the first guy on this list.
Yeah, the first guy on this list is Patrick Mahomes. Huge value in Dynasty right now. No.
We got to stop doing that.
He's got a steep asking price. I'll say that.
We're going to start off here with Davante Adams. Currently valued at wide receiver. Yeah, this is for real.
Thanks, Nathan.
Currently wide receiver 17 on Keep Trade Cut. And I don't know about you guys, but I think he's valued a lot closer to wide receiver 10 in Dynasty than wide receiver 20.
I think he's the wide receiver 1, actually.
Okay. But I think Davante Adams at wide receiver 17 is not someone, I'm going to start this off. I don't think he's a screaming value in Dynasty for every team. I think there's going to be cases where you can go out and sell him. But let's talk about Davante Adams as a producer real quick. Out of the 16 wide receivers, yeah, he's horrible. Out of the 16 wide receivers to score 16 or more points per game in their 9th season in the NFL, 57% of them did the same thing, so they also scored 16 plus points per game in their 10th season, right? So when you look at the Hall of Famers, because we're assuming Davante Adams is a Hall of Fame level talent with how good he's been in the league so far. Oh. The Hall of Famers on this list, there were 4 of them. All 4 of them scored 18 plus points per game in their 9th season, just like Davante just did. And all 4 still produced 16 plus points per game in their 10th season.
Did you get that from the RotoViz screener?
I did get that from the
RotoViz screener.
And so, yes, small sample size right there. But you also had guys who were not Hall of Famers. You had Marvin Harrison, you had Mike Evans, you had Keenan Allen, some really good guys on that list who continue to produce in their 10th season in the NFL, right? Davante, he's not just going to fall out. He's not just going to stop producing, and that's our point here. He led the league in 2022, and this is a long list. Get ready. Target share, air yards, total touchdowns. All 3 of those are big to lead the league in. Next, he was top 5 in targets, target rate, snap share, routes run, air yard share, and red zone targets. As well, I'm going to keep going. Reception yards, yards per team, pass attempt, juke rate, and route wins. Davante Adams is an incredible wide receiver, and you don't just fall off after that. We're going to get into other players in the league right now who have hit their 9th and 10th season, and you can tell the fall-off is coming by looking at the same statistics. Davante is not going to be the same. Don't tell me he's just going to be bad next year. He's not going to give you 14 points per game or 12 or anything like that.
But Dynasty Domain, guys,
he's not 23.
Why would Davante Adams do the exact same thing that he's been doing for the last 5 years when he's playing with Jimmy Garoppolo this year, who's definitely going to get injured? Guys, I don't give a rip who is playing quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders this season. I don't care if they go through every single one of their quarterbacks, all of them get injured, and Josh Jacobs is playing quarterback at the end of the season. Davante Adams is scoring all of those points. He's doing it again. It doesn't matter who the heck is back there.
And Josh Jacobs would be as good as Derek Carr was last year.
I don't think people understand.
People don't talk about it enough.
I don't think people talk about it enough how bad Derek Carr was from an NFL perspective as a quarterback last year, how bad he was. Do I think he's going to do that again this year? No, not New Orleans, but that's besides the point. The point is Davante Adams has proven he's quarterback proof. Yes, he played with a big name in Derek Carr, but Derek Carr was bad.
But he was a college quarterback.
His name is only 9 letters. He's not that much of a big name. Yeah. But did you say Marvin Harrison wasn't a Hall of Famer?
No, I meant to say Reggie Wayne. Marvin Harrison was one of the Hall of Famers.
Reggie Wayne is going to be a Hall of Famer. He keeps getting snubbed.
I was trying not to interrupt you, but you said he wasn't, and I was like...
No, you're good. My fault.
Marvin Harrison.
They were both on that
Marvin
list.
Harrison was my favorite player growing up, so I won't. And if we don't get juniors, Jim Mercer's gonna be like, "Hey, Chris, man, we gotta screw JT, and then we gotta go get Marvin Harrison Jr." I'm just kidding. He did not screw JT. JT's being
okay.
a diva.
So who was the Rams backup quarterback, Raiders backup quarterback at the end of the year last year?
Jarrett Stidham.
Stidham. So I mean, this is a tiny sample size, right? It's 2 games, but the 2 weeks Derek Carr was benched at the end of the year. Weeks 17 and 18, Davante Adams scored 34.3 and 12.3 points, right? So he was still, he doesn't need a great quarterback
Jarrett
to go out
Stidham.
and give you 34 points.
And you're right, 2 games is not enough, but we don't need any more. We know this. We know this with 0 games of evidence. He's quarterback proof. Next guy on this list. It's going to be...
This guy's not quarterback proof at all, by the way.
This guy makes it on the list every year. Every single year.
Every
He's
month.
On this, every day, actually.
Yeah,
Every
I think about him
second.
every day.
Do you? Chris Godwin is the next guy on this list. The wide receiver 33. Is that right? He's the wide receiver 30.
Wide receiver 33 on Keep Trade Cut.
He's 27, right?
Yeah, that's really old.
But Chris Godwin's old. Guys, Chris Godwin has been labeled as old for 3 years now.
Chris
This is
Godwin was the
Avery's
youngest dude ever to get old. Like, I mean, they were labeling him that when he was 24.
I mean,
right.
to be fair, Tyler Lockett does exist.
I know.
He was
Tyler
like-
Lockett's bald.
Yeah.
Like,
He was wide receiver 2 overall, and they're like, guys, Chris Godwin is aging. He's not going to do this again. Like, he's done.
Chris Godwin in 2019 had a 22% target share, and he scored 19.6 points per game on a 22% target. The dude is a target monster. He's efficient. We've gone through all the advanced
But wasn't he
metrics.
playing with Tom Brady, Avery?
Actually,
No,
he
he's playing with
wasn't.
Jameis Winston.
He was playing
What?
with J-Mo, who, number 1, was fresh off of stealing crab legs out of a grocery store, but number 2, threw 30 interceptions that season. So you tell me if the dude's quarterback proof or not, because as bad as Baker Mayfield is, I don't think he can be that bad. We're going to find out,
Do you have
though.
any statistics on why he was bad?
His catchable, why he was bad?
How bad Jameson Winston was?
Well,
Jameis.
his catchable target rate, Chris Godwin's that year, was only 79%, which is indicative of how Jameis Winston was pretty not good, which was 42nd in the league, by the way. And his target quality rating was 5.98, which was 45th. You're talking about a guy that finishes the wide receiver 2 and is in the 40s in terms of how good the targets were that he was getting. Yeah. So what does that tell us? It means he must be a pretty dang good receiver. Don't you think? Yeah. Don't you think that? I mean, he was 3rd in receiving yards. He was 1st in yards after catch.
No.
He was 3rd in total touchdowns. He was 9th in yards per route run. He was 3rd in yards per team pass.
I'm not buying it.
He was. I know. What's YPT?
I wrote this video. Yards per target.
He was 4th in yards per target. He was 5th in true catch rate. He was 4th in contested catch rate. The dude is a dog. He's a dog. I don't
Like an actual dog, not like a Justin Fields is a dog
No,
for no
no.
reason.
Like he's some kind of actual like canine.
Really cool.
He scores a ton of fantasy points. Really cool at playing football, and we just crap on the dude. I mean, let's at least respect him for something, right? With Mike Evans, Mike Evans entering his 10th season.
Just like Davante Adams.
Yep.
Scored 15 points per game last year, he was only third.
Really only for 2 games.
Wow, 33rd in yards per out run and 29th in yards per
So
team
this
pass
is what I
attempt.
was saying earlier. It's Mike Evans, who is also a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Not as
Davante
efficient.
Adams is like the top 5 in all these categories. Mike Evans was 33rd in yards per route run and 29th in yards per team pass attempt.
Yeah.
So
and look, we understand to an extent, like Jameis Winston, even though he was horrible in 2019, did he finish as a top 5 quarterback in fantasy that year?
Probably.
Top 6 at least.
Because Mike Evans
because
was
he had a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns. But the point is, Jameis Winston in 2019 was able to support, even as bad as he was in that offense, he supported Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as wide receiver 1s. Now, all we're expecting Mike Evans to take a step back this year. Not as much as some people expect, but a significant step back. Chris Godwin is the one that's a slot wide receiver in that offense. And Baker Mayfield, look, dude, all they're going to do is tell Baker Mayfield to just check it down the middle of the field to Chris Godwin all day because he's the easiest target. He's a big target. He's going to get everything that comes his way. When you see a 22% target share in 2019 with 19.6 points per game, that means he's making the most out of the targets that he's getting, which were limited when he was splitting time with or splitting opportunities with Mike Evans.
Prime Mike Evans. I mean,
you got to be loving the value.
Look at the yak. Look at the average depth of target. He's got a shorter average depth of target. Why? Because he's going to command a lot of receptions. He's going to be playing that middle of the field working role. And when you have those guys, the Chris Godwins of the world, the Michael Pittmans of the world, what JSN is probably going to be in terms of demanding receptions, those guys tend to translate well to quarterbacks that people are lower on. It's why we're higher on Michael Pittman than consensus. But with Chris Godwin, I don't even know why we argue. I don't even 33. Next.
James Conner is going to be our next guy. We talk about him a lot, especially in fantasy. We've been liking his value in fantasy, but in Dynasty now at this point, you're getting him for dang near nothing. He's already he's already fallen off the value cliff in Dynasty. Get him for free. Get him for free. In 13 games last season, James Conner was 13th in targets, okay? So in 2021, he used to have, he going into 2022, he had concerns, okay? We said, hey, he's not going to do this again because he's not going to score 18 touchdowns again. He went out and he improved his efficiency. He had more yards per carry than he did in 2021. 13th in targets. Decent. Second most targets that he's ever had in 13 games in a season. 17th in receiving yards, 16th in touchdowns, and 9th in points per game. 9th in points per game.
That is
it gets better.
With like half the touchdowns. After returning from injury, remember this too. Kyler Murray was injured pretty much right when James Conner came back.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks after.
James Conner was playing with a backup quarterback who was obviously much less capable than Kyler Murray is. Now you're going into 2023 where Kyler Murray is probably going to be out for at least half the season. Some would wager even the entire season because why would he come and play when they're not playing for anything? Conner averaged during that time 19 points per game through the last 9 weeks. 19 points per game.
Is that good?
It kind of sucks. 6th in snap share, 8th in opportunity share. Look, the Cardinals have way bigger needs as a team than running back, and they went and they proved that this year in this draft. Everyone said the Cardinals are going to draft a running back. Simon said the Cardinals are going to draft a running back, and they didn't. And honestly, I kind of, looking back, I'm surprised they didn't draft a running back. But they're just finishing out the contract that they gave James Conner a couple years ago. Look at the current NFL running back situation.
No.
You can do whatever you want with an aging running back in James Conner for the next season or two and pay him $6 million a year, or you can go out and pay a premium running back who's going to fall off in 3 seasons and pay him $12 million a year. Well, they want more than $12 million a year. Like, this is a no-brainer, guys. James Conner at running back 39 is winning you leagues. What is our goal in Dynasty Fantasy Football? Winning championships, which requires, I know it's hard to believe, but it does require that you score more points than your opponents. James Conner will do that for you at running back 39. What are the other running backs going around James Conner in Dynasty? Around that range? Are they scoring as many points as he is? I don't even have to look at it. They're not doing half at running back 39. They're not doing half of what James Conner is this year. He's got the bell cow workload. He has receiving upside. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. That does mean something for James Conner in the passing game.
What about Tyjae Spears, though? He's right next to him. You mean Rashad Penny's not going to outscore James Conner?
Please don't go into the comments and tell me Keontae Ingram. Please don't. Please don't. If James Conner gets hurt, sure, Keontae Ingram is a guy that maybe you can throw on your flex and he'll score you 10 points. But oh my gosh.
There is a legitimate argument against James Conner here, and I want you to address this. So what about Keontae Ingram?
I thought you were being serious for a second.
I did too.
No, he's smashing by.
Right.
Duh.
Yeah.
Let's move on here to Aaron Jones. Yep. And it's another guy who's aging, right? And blah, blah, blah. He's bad. He's old in Dynasty. Who cares? Aaron Jones, RB 25 in Dynasty right now. Last year, he was 8th in yards per carry, 11th in opportunities, 8th in targets, 9th in rush yards, 10th in receiving yards, 8th in points per game.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. And by the way, the Packers aren't going to add anyone else. They have A.J. Dillon as well, and A.J. Dillon has been there the last few years. And guess what? Aaron Jones has still produced. And I'm sorry if you say the cliff is coming and the Aaron Jones is aging and he's going to fall off because, he only scored 15 points per game this last year. You're right, and that's a huge step down from... Wait, that can't be right. 15.4 last year? There's no way.
Yeah, his points per game last year.
Whoa,
Aaron Jones.
Wait, you mean his fall off was only 0.4 points?
We are so sarcastic.
Wow. No, I don't think Aaron Jones is just going to fall out of nowhere. I think he's going to continue to produce. He took a pay cut to stay with the Packers. He wants to be used there. I wouldn't be surprised if he's up to like 16 points per game this next year.
You're not
He's got
even
a long way to
mentioning
go.
he's playing with a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Who's going to be dumping the. Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
But Jordan Love isn't a rookie quarterback, guys. Aaron Rodgers, in his first year of starting after Brett Favre left, went 6-10 and threw 18 interceptions. If you are predicting that Jordan Love is going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers, you do you. He's still not going to be very good as rookie.
Not everyone
year.
is Mahomes in their first year playing. Let's move on.
Yep. You got the last guy. Nathan, you got the last guy.
I got the last.
I don't know how else to say it. Like, you just do it.
Dalton Schultz currently going at tight end 18. Oh my gosh.
I don't know, Nathan. You're sleeping on Chigo Conquo.
Man, you're getting me fired up again. With the alpha wide receivers in the Houston Texans offense and Nico Collins and Jonathan Mechie. And who else? Those are premium caliber alpha wide receivers playing with CJ Stroud going into this year.
So you mean with those guys, there's no way Dalton Schultz gets the ball
absolutely zero receiving work at all for Dalton Schultz going into this season.
We've literally been
None.
sarcastic on that.
Absolutely not. Look, guys, in 2021, Dalton Schultz had 14.6 points per game.
That's pretty good, actually, in the landscape of tight ends.
He was a top 6 elite producing tight end, and while it was fair to predict that he wouldn't match that going into 2022, it is fair to predict that he will probably, honestly, he can make a running for a top 6 producing tight end going into this season because he's playing with a rookie quarterback who needs veteran experience and probably needs to take some short passing attempts here and there when he needs to get the ball out of his hands when he's under pressure. Dalton Schultz is that guy. Dalton Schultz is absolutely that guy. Even if Stroud is bad, he's only in Houston for 1 year and he can go play with a variety of talented quarterbacks. This is Dalton Schultz. And we know his ceiling. His ceiling is a low producing, elite producing tight end, top 6. 5 to 6. Tight end 5 to 6.
He's not going to be tight end 1, but at tight end 18 in Dynasty
Correct.
right now, this is a really good price. He's almost free.
Rarely do we encourage you to invest in any guys outside of the top 6 elite tight ends, but Dalton Schultz is such a screaming value right now. You got to bite.
Have we told them about the study we did on top 6 tight ends? All right, you need to make sure you like the video. And also, if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed because we're going to be bringing you these good values all season long. So you can be making adjustments on your Dynasty team and trying to tweak your team so you can win your leagues. Make sure, if you really want to have all the resources you can to win your leagues, you head over to flockfantasy.com/domain. Use our code domain. You're going to be hooked up with us. We're going to have all kinds of fun.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, shut up.
Jeez, Nathan.
Sorry.
The mind of a freaking 12-year-old.
Simon made the face.
Did you really?
He did make a face.
Simon?
I don't know.
It was his fault.
Okay, fine. If you used code domain, then you're going to be associated with us from a Dynasty Fantasy Football standpoint. Is that good enough for you guys?
Yes.
I'm done. We'll see you later. These veterans are huge values in Dynasty Leagues. Huge values. You've got to be go pick. Here we go. These veterans are huge values in Dynasty Leagues. You need to be go. You need to be go get.